Okay, we just began this game night with Satoshiverse. I'm super happy to be here. Welcome, everyone. Nick, it's a pleasure to have you here. How are you, Nick?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. I think that the community will enjoy very much this game. I have been looking like the gameplays, what you have been doing, and I think it's a very quality Web3 game. And of course, we want to know more about it. So, are we ready, everyone that is here? Welcome to the stream. Okay. Secho, Corbin, hello, welcome to the stream. Remember that we are multicasting on Twitch, on YouTube, and on X. So we are just getting started. And by the way, we have some prizes for the viewers. So stay tuned for this dynamic that we're going to have. So Nick, please let us know you a little bit more. What is your role inside the game? What is the game about, and what can you tell us? But first, I would like to know, when did you start crypto? That's one question that I always very interesting for people that are building on Web3. When did you start?
Yeah, so it's interesting actually. I was before this, I worked as a lawyer in the entertainment industry for about 6 years. In 2017, I started in crypto, but mainly on the NFT side. So I was never a big crypto trader or investor, but the idea of NFTs really called out to me because I was doing a lot of work in the intellectual property space, and I saw this as a huge opportunity for gaming and for digital asset ownership. And so at that point, I started advising with a few different companies and founded Apollo NFT, which was our consulting firm. And then in 2020, we founded Apollo Entertainment and started full time building out the Satoshiverse. Oddly enough, the Satoshiverse was a collaboration in the beginning between myself and my grandfather. My grandfather was a 60-year Marvel and DC comic artist named Jose Delbo. So back when NFTs took off and things started building up and there was this opportunity for creators to release their art, actually like probably right before it took off and COVID hit, what happened was all of the conventions shut down and he couldn't go to these comic conventions anymore and sell his art. That's what he was doing for the last 10 years since he retired. So I said to him, I said, look, I know the founders of Maker's Place and Nifty Gateway. Why don't we release some of your art there? We did that, and fast forward, a few months, he became one of the biggest crypto artists in the space. He sold, millions of dollars worth of NFTs, and that was amazing. People, collected his art all around the world. So we decided to create our own superhero based on the story of Satoshi, and that's when the Satoshiverse was born. We imagined Satoshi coming back as his own superhero and kind of built the IP off of that. That's when we founded Apollo Entertainment and our 25-person studio. We released our Legionnaires collection, which was our first 3D avatar collection that we built in Unreal, and then started building the game, which is Legions 2029.
Wow, that's a incredible story. Like inside your family, you have built like great things, and that's super interesting. That's a quite very interesting story, what you have been doing, how the game also was born. That's crazy. I didn't know about this, so that's make me more hype than I was before. So that's great. We know like the background of Satoshiverse, the game that is super high quality in terms of graphics too. So now this is a game night, so if you can start showing us like maybe the items, the blockchain aspect of the game, that will be awesome.
Cool.
I will share your screen when you're ready.
All right. Yep. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
Let-
Good to go. So the game is a high fidelity PC game. It has kind of hack and slash mechanics combined that are inspired by God of War, combined with a roguelike gameplay loop that was inspired by Hades. When a new player comes into the game, the first thing they're going to do is be prompted to create an avatar. So you basically create this custom avatar, and we'll do a very quick one just to showcase it. So we'll give them some black hair. Maybe we'll make the eyes blue. You could change the skin color, and you have male and female bodies. and then you can change all these different aspects. So today we'll do a BGA avatar. So we'll do this. What we basically do is we've partnered with over 40 communities to include their logos in the game. So you can customize the avatar depending on the logos. So we have like Trevor Jones and Hackatow and Hyperplay and various other partners, including the BGA. So we'll have this logo here. And then what you would do is you would create this avatar. Once you get this avatar to level 5, you can mint it for free as an NFT. So what I would do if I was going to do that is I would hit create, and then we could play with this avatar and go through the story and play through the campaign mode. And then ultimately you get to the end game. But since we have a more limited amount of time today, I'm going to just skip that part. And I'm going to take us right into the end game. So this Legionnaire is actually one of my many Legionnaires. That's from our first avatar collection. So we have the Legionnaires and the 8 Mo Army. Both of those collections are fully playable within the game. And so I'll show you a quick example. So this is one of my Legionnaires, and it's loading up because I have a lot of them. So it takes a little while to load, but you can see, I have lots of different Legionnaires. These are all NFTs, on Ethereum that you can get. And then if, for example, I wanted to showcase some of the 8 Mo Army, this is our other high fidelity NFT collection that's fully usable within the game. And what's cool is you can actually use your characters as skins. So if I wanted to play with one of my other characters, I could use this character as a skin. But today, we're going to just roll with my base Legionnaire, which is this one that I like to use. This is my highest level character. And then you'll see that there's a pretty deep item progression in the game. So the game kind of has RPG aspects to it, and that all kind of manifests itself in the item progression. And so you'll see that it has different stats, it has different legendary traits. All of these can be modified and upgraded. We use a what we would call a pay to progress system. So obviously every blockchain game has to decide how they deal with the real money element of the game. The way that we've integrated blockchain is all the items are ownable as NFTs, but essentially rarity, like let's say you get the rarest item in the game, really only matters from an aesthetic perspective. So this is actually probably the rarest sword in the game, but it's going to perform exactly the same as this sword once I level up this sword. So all of the investment of resources is actually spent in customizing and leveling up the item, which takes time rather than luck, right? And so if you're paying, to buy the item, what you're paying is for that time that's spent building up the item, rather than someone who's just been farming for 30 days and finds the rarest item in the game, and now you have this huge advantage. So it really levels the playing field for what is eventually our end game. And so I won't go too deep into it, but basically there's different categories of items. You have these system components, which are essentially like you would have clothing on some different avatars. In a normal RPG, ours don't have clothing. They have these system components because they're actually mechanical biosynths is what we call them, but they're machines. The idea of the game is that you're piloting these machines in the outskirts, and that their AI is improving every single time you print. These are some of our resources. The way we do it is a hybrid system. So what you can see here is all of these are in my inventory. But if I wanted to, and this is using Hyperplay, I can mint them directly from inside the game, and it's gonna say, it's gonna tell me to sign a transaction. I'll show you just how that works real fast. I'd see the pop-up. I'm not actually going to do it here, but kind of your typical Web3 wallet flow. This is something I think is really cool that Hyperplay does. And I hope I didn't just break it by canceling that transaction. It's going to wait for it for a little bit, and then it's going to time out. Oh, I didn't think about that. All right, if you could give me 2 seconds to reboot this, I'm gonna. Otherwise it's just gonna. Oh no, there we go. Yeah, I just wasn't sure how long the timeout was, and I didn't want everyone to to have to wait because I did something a little unorthodox, but good that it's working correctly. It's still, I think that's the disclaimer. It's still an early access game. It's in alpha. So there are bugs here and there, but we've spent a lot of time polishing it. But anyways, the fun part is now. So
Yeah,
basically you
but
have two. Yeah, go
excuse
ahead.
me.
Sorry.
Before we go to this campaign mode, we are
Mhm.
actually we're going to see the gameplay. I have a lot of questions, and I think the BGA community also has it. Like for
Sure.
example, I just want to make sure you say that on the item progressions, like rarity is more like cosmetic than any other
Mhm.
thing. Like you can customize, but in terms of gameplay, it will have like the same stats. The only thing that changed is of rarity. It changed the visuals, right? That's correct.
Yeah, so in theory there is a slight rarity element, but it's very attainable. So basically what happens is you have these legendary weapons, right? Legendary weapons will all have the same base stats, right? So what they all start out the same. In order to find a legendary or to create a legendary weapon, you have to find these things called blueprints. It does take a little during a normal full playthrough you're going to find one or two blueprints. You likely won't find the rarest blueprints, which are aesthetically different than the other blueprints, but all of these blueprints are going to end up creating an item, a weapon like this that begins with the same stats. But then what makes the item more powerful is how you progress it. So like this one has 12 attack speed, it has 130% damage increase and 9% cooldown reduction. Those are all things that I've chosen and re-rolled and built over time using our resource, which is called Satoshi's Crystals. And that's kind of like the main resource that's used to upgrade all the items and to re-roll them and to do all the things that you would be typically doing during an RPG progression. But the difference between what we're doing in a typical RPG is, let's say you're playing Diablo and you find, the Oculus, which was the best sorceress weapon in Diablo 2. You don't actually have to find an Oculus and then do all the stuff with that Oculus. What you're doing here is you're actually finding any legendary weapon. You're picking the one that you like stylistically or the one that you have, and then you're working on upgrading that as you progress until that weapon has pretty much elite stats. But any legendary weapon can achieve those same elite stats. So in that respect, the only difference becomes, how much you've progressed it and the way it looks.
That's great. I think that it's super important for us gamers to know this. Like if we have a basic weapon, evolved legendary, the stats, that's very important things for us. And actually that weapon looks very stunning. We have Tiger from the chat that it's saying that the visual quality of the items and the player shows is interesting because the story behind the game it is related with Satoshi Nakamoto, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
that's why the name of the game. If you can explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so our thought, when I got involved in crypto back in 2017, I thought it was incredible that the whole, industry was stood up by, a man, woman, or group that essentially, built the blockchain and then disappeared all of a sudden, never to be heard from again. And for me, that was either a superhero backstory or a villain backstory. And so we decided to make it into an entire lore and superhero backstory. And actually, if you watch the game intro, which is like a 5-minute long video, really cool. Definitely recommend you not skip it when you play the game. We skipped it today because of time, but that tells the whole story about how you had the financial crisis. Satoshi went into hiding, and basically the enemies in this game, the defenders of freedom, they call themselves, but we call them the defenders of fiat. They came up and they formed this, society of bad guys. They hired these local gangs to essentially take over the world. And that's what prompted Satoshi to come back and lead this rebellion and form the Legions, which is what the game is called, Legions 2029. It takes place in 2029 in the outskirts, and you are like the leader of the Legions, and you're going through and you're fighting against these different gangs, and you're able to, really fight for Satoshi. And you have your companion, Aurora, who's this little robot that follows you around and talks to you. But yeah, it's kind of this solitary PvE game where you're playing and you're just kind of swarmed by enemies all the time, and you're using different abilities and stats, or your stats and kind of combos, and really fighting through them with kind of a typical hack and slash progression.
That's great. Wow. Yeah, the more I know about the game, I'm more excited. And actually, thanks everyone for being here. We have a special surprise for you because BGA is doing something new, something great that I'm going to share now my screen so you can be part of this, okay? So right now, we have a question system that you can actually win prizes of this game, and one of them is like very expensive, I will say. So a lot of you are going to be interested, but in terms of gameplay, I think when you are going to enjoy this beautiful game, you will see that the difference. So right now, this is called, as I mentioned before, this is called the game early questing. Okay, guys, so I'm going to give the link here on the chat. I'm going to leave the link in Twitch, YouTube, and X. So you enter gameearly.com, you create an account, you go to launch app, you create an account. It's super simple, like any other account. And then you're going to find the game. I'm going to show you right now. You're going to find the game. You put here on the bar, and you're going to put Legions 2029. Okay, you go there, and you will see now that the quests are live. Okay, you're going to see now the quests are live. This is a video that we were mentioning. Look at this, it's great. Apollo Entertainment, you get a follow, and you do every question that is here. So remember to complete your account. So you click on your account, you complete it with your basic information. You don't have to link, for example, Steam, Epic Games yet, just your X account. It's super important that you link your X account here on your dashboard. And here are the questions, like write the secret phrase that I'm going to give in a few minutes, the secret phrase. Stay tuned. You have to like on X, write your Legions game account, and what about, because of course the prizes that we're going to give away today, you have to have an account on the game, follow on X, the studio. So this link is here. I'm going to put this direct link also, and you can be on the questing for great prizes. Now, Nick, if you are ready, can you show us like the gameplay, the speed run that you were mentioned early? I think I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, no, I'm ready. Hopefully I don't die. So basically, like I was saying, there's these two modes. There's the campaign mode with all this different stuff, and then there is the time challenge. The time challenge every season, so we have these seasons, we have a leaderboard, and we do big prizes for the top, leaders. Fitzy is our resident champion. He's the one to beat because he's very good at the game, much better than me. I'm Satoshi, so you can see my score is not as high. And on a lower level, but you have all these different levels. So this is inspired by Diablo's Rift system. So what happens after you beat the game is you can continue to advance in difficulty by doing these time challenges, and that's actually how you're going to earn experience and get items and all the stuff that you would typically do. But it's changing the difficulty of the thing. So I'm actually going to do it on a little bit lower difficulty so that I can talk a little bit and hopefully not die. So I'll be a little bit overpowered in this level, but hopefully that'll let me not die while showing you the game. But no promises, because I die pretty often. All right, so let's print in.
What is the max level? Because I noticed that you were 28. Who is the highest level? What
level 30 right now in this version? The highest level is level 30. Yeah, so you want to be level 30 to be competitive in the speedrun mode. I just haven't gotten there yet because those last levels, like any game, are a bit of a grind. But yeah, so this is the avatar. This is where you print. This is a safe area. You're not going to get killed here, but as soon as I go through these doors, we're going to have enemies. Obviously the game has sound and music. We're just not broadcasting it right now. But yeah, so like the typical kind of hack and slash mechanics, I'm gonna play with this guy a little bit and make him run around. But it's so this is a sword. There's also axes and bludgeoning weapons. This gang is called the RTM, so you have to be very careful with these guys because they'll shock you and then you'll get swarmed. These guys shoot bolts at you and also they can swarm you. But right now I'm going to round them up and I'm going to do one of my more powerful abilities, which is a wave ability,
Wow.
which just took a bunch of them. That, what I just did was the supercharge. So that's very important. These drones will shock you. And so you have to go to these portals and you have to deactivate them
Okay.
before you take out the enemies. Otherwise, you can also hit them with one of your abilities, but you don't want to let them remain active. So let's try to take this guy out with a sword.
Oh, that's a
You
lot
can,
of mobs. Like,
yeah, it's a very mob-based game. We're actually going to be tweaking that in the, oops, I missed. In the next version of the game. One of the things we've tweaked is a little bit of the enemy AI and the movement, but the idea was for it to have that kind of zoomed in third person, but still play a little bit more like a roguelike, dungeon crawler with lots of mobs, because it is a PvE game. So you want to be kind of constantly, surrounded by enemies. And what I was just doing was hurting them. But, if I don't hurt them, they're actually spawned out a little bit further and, I'm going to die. I got to deactivate these drones or they're going to get me. Let's get these guys. And so I can actually, once I get to the end of this sector, I'm going to be able to upgrade my ability, which is kind of part of the in-run progression. So obviously, roguelikes, if you're familiar, and maybe the audience isn't, but roguelikes like Hades and games like that typically have two types of progression. They have a permanent progression, which is like your avatar level and your stats and things like that. But then they also have a very important in-run progression. So during each playthrough, you're going to have to upgrade things and make things better so that you can actually achieve that run. Oh God, I almost died. And yeah, as you can see, it's a pretty hardcore game. So it's pretty. If you even lose focus for a second, it's not really the type of game that is forgiving for that. In fact, the pause menu doesn't even pause. It's meant to, you have to get to safety to kind of give that like realistic vibe. The idea is to kind of create this feeling that you're actually piloting this avatar and it's not just, a game, but that it's this interface through which you're piloting this avatar, and this avatar is in the outskirts and you're at home, which also is kind of plays into the roguelike aspect. In roguelike games, typically dying is, I wouldn't say encouraged, but it's a very big part of the system. And so the way this game works is every time you die, that's when your avatar actually gets stronger. And so on the next run, you'll be able to get further into the outskirts. And that's in the campaign mode. In the speed run mode, the idea is to try to finish the level. And it's not about how far you get, it's about how fast you can do it. And so I'll show you in a second. I think we're going to have our first boss. This first boss is actually interesting. And I don't want to ruin, I mean, we're going to have a little bit of spoilers here. This first boss uses a mechanic that is a little bit different than the others. In this first boss, we actually introduce a shooting mini game. So the whole game is hack and slash. And this first boss is actually the last boss in the campaign. But now it switches to kind of a shooter mechanic. And there's going to be, now you're in the outskirts, because this boss actually is a shooting boss called the Cowboy. And so, like, as you play through the campaign, you hear the whole backstory of these different bosses, and you get to know a little bit about their story. Of course, I already kind of know where the enemies are because I've played this a lot. So there is definitely an optimal path I missed that one. There's an optimal path to make sure that you don't get hit. Who did I miss? Oh, I missed one over here. Let's see.
Oh, that's the Fiat lowers, right? The enemy.
Yeah. So this group is called the Wasteland Brotherhood. So the way it works is that the story is that the defenders of Fiat actually hired 3 gangs to kind of do their work in the outskirts. So you'll see, and I'll show you on the next. Oh boy, that's funny. That has never happened to me before. Oh wow, I think I'm stuck. I think I'm
Yeah.
stuck. That's funny. So I kid you not, this has never happened, but it does happen. Things like this in the game. So yeah, I'm stuck. I'm gonna have to restart, and I'll show you guys here. I'll let him kill me because that's not even letting me.
Yes. So the blockchain integration, if I get it okay, is like you're doing in the back end with Hyperplay, right? So they are
Yeah.
doing the minting.
So yeah, so it's actually all so Hyperplay. What they have is basically a wallet overlay, and what their wallet overlay does is it just imports your browser and it allows you to use your custodial wallet as a essentially extension of that browser within a game. So basically, everything you'd be doing is from your normal MetaMask account, and you're able to do that in a fully custodial way, which is pretty cool. I mean, it was the original kind of before you had. I'm just gonna disconnect because I'm gonna be stuck there. Before you had kind of custodial wallets, before you had things like account abstraction, Sequence, Third Web, some of these companies that are doing account abstracted wallets, there really wasn't a good way of doing a transaction within an Unreal Engine game. And so Hyperplay was one of the first that created this wallet overlay feature, and we fully integrated it back in 2021 actually, and have kind of evolved that. There are some cool things about doing custodial wallets that I think give advantages over doing account abstracted wallets, just kind of from the custodial perspective, from the security perspective. But we will eventually, also enable kind of account abstracted wallets to make that a little more seamless. But the way the game is architected, you can play either the inventory version, which doesn't require any blockchain connectivity, but then if you want, you can mint things, and then everything will be on the blockchain.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. So we have seen the game. Actually, we're going to do this little pause so we can give
Cool.
to the audience the secret phrase, because again I will mention that we have here some question, okay, some question on game early, our partners, BGA members also, and we have some quest, okay, some social quest, and there's a secret phrase. If you want to know which is the secret phrase, you have to be super fast because I'm going to show you only one time. I'm going to put that link again here. You have to create an account, you have to complete your profile, and this is the secret phrase, ladies and gentlemen. That secret phrase is, like Satoshi would say it,
Revolution.
yes.
I can't see you, but I'm looking at the game.
Revolution. That's the secret
Revolution.
phrase. Revolution. Okay.
And that's kind of our motto. You are the revolution. So the whole game is about, revolting against the oppressors and leading the rebellion.
Yes, that's right. Perfect. Okay, now if we want to do another speed run, maybe it could be super great.
Yeah, let's do another one.
And
hopefully this time I don't fall.
Yeah, one thing that you mentioned earlier, it was your partners, like participating partners, that you can actually put the logo on the character. Like you can actually mint those skins if you reach level 5 with, for example, BGA logo.
Exactly, for free. So right now, to be honest, there's no monetization in the game, and pretty much everything is mintable. So from the avatar skins to everything, it's all mintable. It's all blockchain assets, and it's all free. And so we have a battle pass as well, where through the battle pass you can get additional skins, additional NFTs, items, all sorts of cool stuff. And all that, the battle pass right now is also free. I think for us, it's kind of a testament to the fact that, we were a community funded project and we bootstrapped the whole project. So right now our focus has been building on something awesome, building with our community and just getting feedback and incorporating that feedback as much as possible. In the future, we're looking at, broader deployments on Steam and some things like that, where we're going to, get this out to a much wider audience. That's when we'll start to, monetize it in different ways through more like premium systems. But for example, the only thing right now that there is to buy, and that comes with other benefits like earning crystals passively and, some things that we're actually about to introduce, are our two avatar collections, the Legionnaires and our 8 Mo Army collection, which are the two collections I mentioned before that you saw in the game. And all those can be used in the game, but owning them also gives you passive rewards within our ecosystem. So that's kind of how we're doing things right now, which will obviously change in the future. So now's a really good time to join up, because you can basically do everything totally free. We've the game itself took about 2.5 years to get this far. We had about 25 people working on the game full time at any given point. So it's definitely been a passion for all of us and a ton of hard work. So we love when new people play it and give us feedback as we start to get it ready for a broader release.
That's great. And I'm watching you playing, and I think the graphics, like this aura that you have, I think it's a debuff that you have to go to the point. Like,
that's a so that's the supercharge ability. I'm actually going to show you guys something that's cool. This is like, so the whole game, if you remember correctly, I told you it was founded out of this comic IP, right? And Jose was a comic book artist. So we have this comic mode, which is actually, completely changes the style of the game to this more of a comic feel, which I really like. I actually play in this mode generally, but I wanted to show you guys kind of the more high fidelity graphics. But aesthetically, this mode is my favorite to play in. It also performs better. So like if you're doing a speed run, this is actually the least taxing on our system. So like if you're using, maybe it's not a gaming computer, you can play in this mode and you're going to have much better FPS and, all the things you would want if you're trying to play competitively. But yeah, I love this mode because it kind of gives you a little bit of a different feel on the game.
Yes, and those comics that you mentioned, is there any way that we can get them, like, or how?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So Jose, obviously Jose was a DC and Marvel comic artist for a long time. He did Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, all the big ones for DC and Marvel. And then when we worked together, we actually haven't created a comic book, but we've created comic art. So Jose's released various different Satoshi art on platforms like Nifty Gateway. The cheapest way to get them actually is we have a Satoshiverse collectibles collection on OpenSea that features some of his art. But his more premium art, which probably sells, in I'd say the $100 to $1,000 range on secondary market, because he unfortunately passed away about a year ago. He was 90, so he lived a long life and did some cool stuff. But he's not creating any new art, obviously. But his old stuff is available on the secondary market, on Nifty Gateway, on Maker's Place, and on OpenSea.
That's great to know. So, okay, right now it's like, are you going to incorporate some kind of seasons on the game? Like the first places, like it's going to be like they will win like an NFT for the efforts.
Exactly.
What are you planning about?
Yeah, so actually we're currently in season 2. So this is actually one of the other bosses. His name is Ares. He's a tough one. So he has a trick. You actually have to activate these, and I'm kind of spoiling things, but you have to. There's the trick is you have to activate these pads when he runs through, so that it shocks him. Otherwise, he'll just really kill you because he's way stronger than you are. But if you're strong and you activate the pads, you can kill him pretty quickly. But yeah, to your question, our season system is tied to our battle pass, which I can also showcase after this. Basically, every season we have a new battle pass, and when you play through, you can get all the things with the battle pass. That's all included. But also the leaderboard you saw, we have a contest every season. So right now we have a contest. I think the top prize is a Legionnaire and a bunch of crystals, or it might just be a bunch of crystals, which is our main resource, and 100 USDC. I think the second place might be 75 or 50 USDC, and then there's a third place, and I think a fourth and fifth place prize in USDC. So we have these leaderboard tournaments, again, totally free to do. And yeah, oh, this is our third gang, actually. This is the Shizoku. This will be the first gang that you fight in the what's it called, the campaign mode. But
Nice.
they shoot fire. So like the other ones shoot electric, these guys shoot fire. This is actually DOF. The DOF is in there too. They look a little bit different. These guys with the gas masks, they're the defenders of Fiat. And then you have this guy who's a gang member. All of the assets in the game are custom made. So all the characters, all of the, obviously we've used some props and things from kits and stuff, but the enemies, a lot of time went into the artistic aspects of the game. We have, all of the propaganda, like crypto is dead. The defenders of Fiat don't like crypto, so they've got all this stuff. But yeah, a lot of work went into the environments, into the character development, and, there's a lot going on here. But yeah, so yeah, to answer your question, there's both leaderboard prizes and there's free items that you can get on the battle pass. And yeah, so you can see that I have the fire ability now, like my ability is now doing fire damage. And there's 3 different types of abilities. There's an AoE ability, a wave ability, and a single target ability, and you use them in different circumstances. And like I said before, I'm overpowered, but when I am playing at level 30, difficulty 30, all of that stuff becomes very important and very strategic. And I can't just zoom around, killing everybody in one hit. So yeah, it all becomes very important. Min-maxing is very important in the game, right? Like fine-tuning, because you have to make choices about what your items have. They can only have 3 traits, so you can't choose all of the stats. So like when your character's weaker, you may want to prioritize defense, the shield. But when your character's stronger and you're trying to compete at the top, you're going to prioritize speed and, raw damage, right? So you have to make sacrifices depending on your play style in order to score, higher, scores on the leaderboard. So all that kind of goes into it. What you would expect with kind of like an RPG type progression. That's where the RPG influence comes in. And then the game loop feels more like a roguelike than an RPG, because there's not like this hundreds of levels that you have to navigate around. It's more each time you play, the levels are slightly different, the enemies are slightly different, and they're stronger and harder to kill and can kind of do different things. But yeah, so I think I'm going to actually try to get us, because now we've seen 2 of the bosses. This is going to be the last boss. This is Shiyuki, who is the first boss that you encounter during the game. She's pretty cool. She will, it has some interesting attacks, and if you're not paying attention, she'll kill you. But she's more of the typical like hand-to-hand combat. And if I let her get near me, which I'll let her hit me, because she has this like VFX attack that she shoots out, and then she actually is going to turn into a ghost and start throwing grenades at me. And if I go into this green, I'm gonna get poisoned. So I have to avoid these green smokes bombs. But I'll try to kill her and not let her kill me. There we go. And so yeah, so then I would get here and I would go to the last one, and we could play it if you want, the one that I died on before. But otherwise, I could also go back to the screen and maybe show some other stuff as well in the menu. Whatever you think.
Okay, yeah, I think we can do the speed run again. How it's going to be like?
Cool. Yeah, well, let's do this one. I'll finish this level, and that way we can see the like the way it looks when I beat it, as long as I don't die.
Hmm. Nice. So some of the community are asking if the game is also going to be available on mobile, like.
So not
Mhm.
currently. The game is a little too heavy. It's kind of it would be hard to put this version of the game
Yeah.
on current versions of mobile. There are some things we're trying to work on. For example, with Steam, the idea would be to try to see if we could get it on Steam Deck, which is a little bit more powerful. I also genuinely believe we're going to see much more powerful mobile technology in the near future. Same with, cloud GPUs are getting way better, and you'll be able to access some of that from mobile. So I think there's going to be possibilities for high fidelity games to be on mobile. I just don't think we're there yet, as an industry, and this definitely
Mhm.
isn't light enough. One of the things we're considering is creating a mobile companion game. So
Yeah.
that's more focused on the robot Aurora, which is, if you see on my back, it's kind of hard to see. There's this little robot. She kind of stays back there
Mhm.
during the speedrun mode, but during the campaign, she's more active and will be talking to you and explaining things to you. And there's cinematics. The
Mhm.
speedrun, what I'm showing right now, skips all of that because it's really focused on the competitive aspects of the game. But obviously, if you play the game, you're going to get the whole story. She's going to be talking to you the whole time, and that part is pretty cool. Like the story part, I think it ties it together a lot more. But yeah, the idea is that if we eventually do have mobile, it would be either a companion or it would be because streaming has gotten better and you can access the game that way. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah, like a complementary game for Aurora that is like the boat that they are. She's talking about the lore. He's helping to the character. So I think that's awesome, and that answered the question. Yeah, it's great.
Cool.
And actually, I'm seeing this graphic that is like comic style, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's it's good to see. Like the graphics are very awesome. It looks actually like a comic, and all the aura that you have,
Oh no.
the fire, the debuff that they put on you. It
Yeah,
has
I
like very good features. Hmm.
I don't want to die. I'm trying not to die. I'm getting very close. So there's actually if you look at the bottom right hand of the screen, I'm out of shield. Shield is very important because shield makes it so that I don't flinch.
Oh.
But if I right now I'm on my like meat health, which is like the last bit of health that I have. So if I die, if I get hit, I'm probably gonna die. And there's still. Oh, okay, we're at the boss. So actually, I can use this
Hmm.
station to heal. So I just healed a little bit, and now I'm gonna try to beat this boss without dying this time. And then that'll be it. That'll be the end of the speed run, and you'll kind of see how the item system works because after the game is over, that's when I actually get items that I found in the run, and
Yeah.
so that'll be cool. You'll get to see that hopefully if I don't die. Anyone else? Yeah, this one.
Yeah,
So
so
like
it's like a shooter game also. It's not only slash and dash. It's like.
exactly. So yeah, we built this little mode as kind of like an early teaser to some of the other things we've been thinking about expanding upon, which would be, adding some shooter elements. But right now, this mini game is the only place where it becomes a shooter. And it's possible that in the future we'll have additional spots where you can shoot. But right now, he's hiding from me. Let's go over here. Shoot.
Okay.
Ah!
The cowboy. That's the boss. The cowboy.
Yeah, the cowboy is the boss. So yeah, he's this cattle rancher who basically his people were basically anti-establishment, so they didn't want to join the DOF when the DOF took over, but they also basically started to starve in because they didn't have access to any resources. And so he made a deal with the DOF that if the DOF like took care of him and fed his people, he would bring his kind of army to fight for them. And I'm so close to dying. All right, I didn't die. Good. So yeah, so now you'll see if I don't get lost. Here we go. I'll go to this last chest, interact with it, and then it's going to
Wow,
be
looks
the end of
amazing.
the run.
Yeah, looks
Yeah,
amazing. The visuals of the
thank
chest.
you. Thank you. Yeah, so this is the end. So now you have Aurora. This is Aurora here.
Mhm.
She's telling me that my time challenge, my score was 14 minutes, which is a pretty slow time actually. But she's also going to now tell me what I earned during the run. And so the time challenge is actually like the best way of getting items because it lets you go to a much higher difficulty level, but also allows you to earn at a higher rate. So I got training data, I got some experience, I got 4 charges and 4 Satoshi's crystals. So this was actually a really nice haul. And then I got a bunch of augments, which are
Mm.
these are the things you use to upgrade your weapon. So in a game like Diablo, you would have gems, or in like different games like RuneScape or whatever that you can used to create certain types of weapons. This is what allows you to add the stats to the weapons, and different stats have different costs with the items. And then these all can be minted as NFTs. These can all be minted as NFTs. And so that is a full timed challenge run that we just did. Thankfully, I didn't die during that one. And yeah, I can show the battle pass real quick. That'll
Yes.
be that's because that's all the free stuff you can get just by playing, by completing the battle pass. So I'll show that.
Yes, that has been great. The speed run that it's only like 15 minutes less than that if you
Mhm.
are very good and you actually win these items. So yeah, let's see the battle pass how
So
it
this is the
goes.
battle pass. So basically what happens is you complete kind of like Fortnite style. You complete these objectives, which all, you can see what they are. Then you claim these things called ciphers, and the ciphers are here. When you have ciphers, you have this store in the different tiers. So this is a custom mask that I can apply to my avatar. So, if I want to redeem this, I would get this one's called Aqualoa. I would get this item, and then that now I can use on my avatar. And then as I go, there's another mask. There are these weapon skins, so these are pretty cool weapon skins. And then actually this season is the first time. So these are all different weapon skins that you can use to reskin your weapon. So you can use the weapon that you've leveled up, but then use this to reskin your weapon. But this is actually the first season that we're offering a blueprint as part of the
Mhm.
battle pass. And so, like I told you before, the most important items are the legendary items in the game. And like what I said was like they're rare, but they're not unobtainable. So if you complete the battle pass this season, you'll actually be able to get a legendary weapon, and then you can use that, and that'll be as powerful as any item in the game if you level it up. You can get an avatar skin. This is one of the avatar skins. This was created by Jose's daughter, Jose Delbo, the artist who is behind us. It's pretty cool mask. And then yeah, so there's all these different items. Again, all can be minted as NFTs. So you have the ability to have them on the secondary market and whatnot. But that's the battle pass. And then what I was showing before, when you were asking about the prizes, these are the current leaders in this season. This season just started, so not
Okay.
everybody has gotten to level 30 and finished the quest. It does take some time to get to the end. But yeah, we're gonna have last season I think we had like 50 something entries into the leaderboard. And so it was a pretty good competition. We have all the prizes currently posted on our pinned tweet on Twitter on our page. You'll be able to kind of see the thread, which also has the prizes, a link I think to the prizes in there on our Twitter feed, so you can see what the prizes for coming in first, second, third are for this season.
Yeah.
And let's switch.
Okay, that's great. I think we have seen the game, all the quality, the gameplay, the bosses that you can actually shoot inside the game too. It's not only a slash and dash, but you can also shoot. You have bosses, you have a battle pass, you can customize your weapon. I think it's kind of cool to see how Web3 gaming are evolving more quality games, and the integration of blockchain, of course, it's super important. And you can be early on this game. This Satoshiverse, you can be early. You can win prizes for the leaderboard. And talking about prizes, we have a surprise for everyone that is here right now. We're going to do a giveaway. Okay, we're going to do a giveaway. So everyone that is writing something on the chat, I will put the name on this like list, and we're going to do a shuffle. 5 of you are going to win prizes right now. 5 of you. So just have to to write something, and I will put you on the list. The ones who already write something, you're okay. But if you haven't write something until this moment, this is your chance, and you have to look at this. Okay, let's go to this one. Okay, we are on game early. If you want to win big prizes, go to this question system game early. The link is on the description. It's also going to be here on the chat. I will put this link. Create an account, complete your profile, and the secret phrase I already gave them to you early on the stream. So who is on the chat who wants to participate on this one? So I will put like the names I have seen right now: Carlos, Secho, Yautzi. We have like Tiger. We have J. Nevan, Carlos, Tiger, J. Nevan, Lucas. And if you win these prizes, you have to create an account, of course, and give all the information on BGA X account. You put like BGA X account, given your info, and you're good to go. So we have Corbin, Gapillo, Tiger is already there. If someone is not on the list and wants to participate on this giveaway, please let us know. Yuya, Gabi, we have Chucky, Loscar. I think he's already have chat here. I don't know, Loscar. And Jujasas, I think is the last one. Squal Jujasas. Okay. And Lobo Blanco here. I saw his name, Lobo Blanco. So you're going to win in-game items. Can you explain what items is it? So
yeah, definitely. So real quick, just because I saw a couple people in the account in the chat trying to create an account. One thing that's a little tricky is that you have to scroll down. There's a little bit weird. You have to click the accept terms of service box. So make sure that if it's not allowing you to create an account, you're able to. You just scroll all the way down to the terms of service and click the little I accept terms of service box, and that should make the register link appear. We're also working on improving that flow because it's a little bit tricky. But anyways, yeah, so the prize is Satoshi's crystals. So as you guys were seeing, all of the things I was doing in the game, whether it was upgrading my items, all of the different items, progression elements that I have require Satoshi's crystals to do them. So they're the main NFT resource that we have in the game. It's the main resource that is used throughout the game. And so I think we're going to be giving away, I think it's 10 Satoshi crystals to 5 of the people in the chat today. So yeah, definitely an important resource. It's going to be a good starting point if anyone wants to play.
Perfect. So a good starting point. This is the one that are participating. 5 winners. So the winners are, we have, okay, Esqual, Corben, J. Nevan, Gapillo, Isecho. Congrats. Please DM BGA X account with your account of Satoshiverse. When you create your accounts, give them all the information. Congrats to them. And yeah, it has been a lot of fun. I think that my hype for the game has increased. I love to see the end game gameplay. This speed runs is a bit challenging. I think that every second will count, so you have to think a lot about like what stats. You have to prioritize more damage, more speed, than rather than more defense. So that the deep of this game, and you can customize, of course, your weapons. So Satoshiverse is a great game. And any other last words that you wish to say to the community, Nick?
No, yeah, thank you so much. I guess the only thing I would say is I see that there's a lot of Spanish speakers, so you just wanted to say that, shout out to todos los latinos, que también nosotros somos de Colombia, de Argentina, así que si vienes a la comunidad vas a tener todo el equipo habla español, así que si hay cualquier problema, todos te pueden ayudar en español también.
Nice, perfect. Yes, a lot of South America. It's a big community inside Web3 gaming, so that's why they were super interested on the game. So as Nick mentioned, if you need any help in Spanish, the team has you covered because they know Spanish too. So you can chat on Discord, on socials, on X with them, and it's going to be great. Vamos Latinoamérica, así es, vamos Latinoamérica. Sí, Latinos in the house, exactly. So thank you again, Nick, for showing us the game. It has been my pleasure. And remember, everyone that participates on Game Early, we have this question system because we're going to give away this NFT that is the most important of the game. But you have to be number one on this question. And of course, the top 7 is going to win some prizes. So you have to compete. Good luck to everyone. This is Muke from Blockchain Himalaya. This is our game night, and we'll see you next week. Okay, thank you, Nick.
All right, thank you so much.